Hi guys, Emily Valley Race Jane. So I thought I would talk about some things today going live. This will also be posted on my YouTube later on. Welcome. There's been some crazy energies as of recently, but what I want to talk about is getting free, finding freedom. I'm gonna wait just a second for people to tune in. Hi Mom. So I'm totally recording in my van right now because there's been a debacle of things to try to get this video out. So it definitely feels like something's trying to stop me from recording. So I'm just not going to stop. And there's definitely some messages that want to come through. But I want to talk basically about getting free, freeing yourself from your mind, but also freeing yourself from the energies that are continuing to penetrate this earth. There's been in the US apparently a sighting of a UFO that they shot down in Alaska. And for any of you starseeds or people that are into UFOs, connect with them. You are a starseed, we are aliens. Knowing that this is all a show and that it's going to continue. And in regards to the media and what is going on, to kind of stay out of it. I mean, until there's an absolute, again, some kind of emergency or a lockdown, and if you're not immediately involved, it's just entertainment purposes only. So they are leading us towards a new phase of the plan for 2023. And the biggest thing that we can do is really get anchored in our own truth and who we are and get free, break ourselves free from the idiocracy around us. And I've always been really sensitive. So a lot of you who say follow me are empaths, starseeds, your healers specifically, and other channelers, were really connected to the collective energy. And everybody, whether you believe in astrology or not, where the planetary alignments are is how we are responding. So it's like, if you look at it like frequency, so say if you hear a song, say if it's a really angry song, then you're going to feel that kind of way. And if you're really happy, you can't listen to really screaming, loud, angry, heavy metal, can you? That makes your body respond a certain way. So when the planets are all aligned, it's an energy. Say it's like listen to a certain sound, a certain song. So as the frequencies continue to change, and with the planetary alignments, then we start to respond accordingly. Again, you don't have to believe in astrology. I'm telling you how it is. So we will all go through similar experiences on the same day. Why? Because of the planet. So why does the full moon activate all the crazy stuff and blah, blah, blah? The full moon represents the shadow. The full moon calls up all the things that are hidden. So I used to work in a shelter, and the day of the full moon, every single person knew it, whether they were spiritual or not. The crisis calls would be amped up. We'd have to call 911 way more. There would be wild events of people who do deal with a lot of mental health issues. They would totally be responding in all kinds of ways, unable to control themselves. So that's what the moon does, and all the rest of the shifts that we're going through. Basically, what I want to share with you is some ways to disconnect and be more empowered within these energies, because I know myself, I get taken. Like, I've always been really deeply affected by the energies, and before I was even conscious of it, I would be living it, like just roller coaster of moods on the daily, not understanding why, feeling like it wasn't necessarily me. I didn't have any reason to be experiencing that, like in my world that was activating such responses of sadness or just overwhelming grief out of nowhere, or being really lethargic, or just having like a bunch of things go wrong, like they say Mercury retrograde, things like that. And regarding like the UFOs and all this other stuff, this plan is taking place because we are getting more energy, we are getting more truth, and so that's to try to like deter us from really sinking into this truth, really receiving our own inner truth, which is coming up, but also the feelings that are being activated. So we're going through continuous purges. We're going through an evolution. I mean, this is our ascension. What the ascension means is that nothing no longer can hide. So we're shining a light on everything. And so if you're getting all these epiphanies and you're feeling all kinds of ways, and all of a sudden they're like, UFO attack, like you're no longer within yourself, you're no longer connected to that innate information that's awakening within you, asking you to look at certain emotions, asking you to look at certain relationships, you're all of a sudden distracted by the world's news and the bullshit around you. Now, aliens, UFOs landing, all that kind of stuff, very real. Very real. Starseeds, I work with them. I've remembered past lives on other planets. Why would I or we be scared of aliens when technically a lot of us walking on the planet are that? Now, not to say there are not negative species of aliens. There absolutely are, just like there's other species on the planet that are not of the light and not positively looking out for the best interest of all humanity. So I have encountered some grays, some Dracos or Draconians, some reptilians. Personally, some of the grays, not all grays are negative. And when you speak about extraterrestrials, so like I said, just like humans, there's a variety, but we still all come from God. Whether it's a gray, like a negative one that wants to siphon your energy, or like a lot of people that I have met, a lot of clients have been abducted, and that's then put them that locked away in a mental institution because they've said that. But it's very true, and they have been experimented on against their will. Those aliens, those breeds do not have a right to do that. That is actually going against universal law. So the US government has been experimenting on aliens for years. It's also finally coming out, like they never landed on the moon. Do you know that? Do you know how it's so proven true? Because they didn't have videography at the time of that event. They did not have the computer systems and devices to film it. They didn't have the evolution of equipment to do that. And so if you look at a bunch of interviews, actually with the astronauts, how much they hide it, but how much sometimes they'll say things and avoid and whatever, they never walked on the moon. In fact, when aliens would land here, NASA, the CIA, would actually capture them, experiment, and torture them. So everything's all twisted, and this part of the truth is coming out. So in regards to any more fear-mongering from the government and this shit, like they start with a China balloon. All of a sudden, a few days later, a week later, it's a UFO craft. So you see how everything has always been planned, and they start small and so that you get comfortable with the concept of it. So they open you to these ideas and continue to like get bigger and bigger and bigger. Like from the swine flu to the, let's hit every animal first flu. Then we'll turn it into a human flu. Then we'll turn it into, then an even greater. Then it's a climate crisis. Like, guys, so the best thing we can do is all of this shit is going on. The plan is going on regardless, as much as we're resisting and fighting it. But the best thing that we can do is get our energy right and aligned. And so going back to that, in how to best manage, like the last video I did, I was getting like, wow, extreme chest pain every morning, anxiety. There was a lot of solar flares hitting the planet. There was a lot of heart chakra purges that were happening organically, and that I knew, like, what is this? It has to be something. So I have to tune in order to understand what I'm experiencing, so then I can allow the process to take place. So if you're feeling right now like a little scattered, if you're feeling extra emotional, not to judge yourself, first of all, to take the mind out of the front row and be more of the objective observer. So witness it without judgment. So like I said, I experience a lot of things viscerally. When there's a lot of light penetrating the planet, you'll have more body pain. You might not sleep as well. You might have more emotions, like all of those things. And it's, first of all, to take yourself out of the judgment of what you're going through and kind of slough it off also, because every single one of us is affected by the energy on the planet and these shifts that we're going through. 2023 moving forward, there's going to be a hell of a lot of fast-paced stuff. It's going to be like really the speed is picking up in regards to what we're going through. So it's like in one day, we're going to be evolving energetically, vibrationally, like what we would have before. It would have taken 3 years. So the parts of you that want to be seen, the parts of you that want to be held, and your nervous system is basically the communication between this energy. So as the energy comes in, it affects your nervous system and it's sending through all your cells, through all your body. So we are all receivers. And when you're really busy, say working, say you're an accountant or you have a lot of kids and you have a lot of like responsibilities every day and you're kind of on autopilot, you're not going to feel these as intensely as someone else that is living a little bit in the more right brain sector. Like an artist is really going to experience these things, or someone who's works outside, they'll really experience these things because they're more connected to nature. So if you're at the office all day, you drive to work, you're in the office, you're surrounded by computers and lights and radiation, you're not going to be as tuned in. However, you might feel a little bit more stressed. Your sleep still might be interrupted, and you might have a bunch of like interactions with people that are feeling off, or that are there's conflict, so it'll display in a variety of ways. And so taking a minute to ground and center is the best way always throughout your day. Take the judgment out of it and understand that there's way more happening at all times than your conscious mind can see around you. Okay, so say if there's there's a fucking massive earthquake on the other side of the world in Turkey, or there's a little a little rumble here in California. Even if you're nowhere near these places, it's going to still send these frequencies your way. You're still going to feel it. Because there's been consistent war on the planet in the East. I don't know. Like, I remember as a kid, there was war on for how long? It's like I ran 20 years. Like, this bullshit's been going on forever. You don't think that everybody actually can still feel that? Whether you're watching the news, whether you live there or not, we're all still affected because our consciousness is still all connected. The oceans are all connected, and we are all made of water. Okay? So the idea of separation in any concept, this is what's needing to be understood, so that then you can say, okay, so in my reality, this is happening, I can feel it, and how am I going to manage this? Like, I brought my, I can't find, here it is. So things like, I use my singing bowl a lot, but these Tibetan bells, it can immediately center you. It immediately clears energy all around you, and the high frequency is really good for that. The higher the frequency, when you feel very ungrounded or like very heavy emotion or extremely stressed or angry, in that kind of way, this will immediately disconnect you from the collective energies, as much as it's still happening, in order to get your presence back to your body and the reality that you say need to experience. You need to get shit done today, right? So it's most important that, yeah, you have a lot to do each day. It is most important to take care of the emotions that are coming up, but how can you? If you're at work, you can't tend to all the things you may be feeling. If you're really stressed, you can't go outside for an hour walk and ground, right? You have work to do, or you have the kids pulling at you, right? So the quickest little things you can do are things like this. Yes, just go outside, take a deep breath, go put have a quick cold shower, like these things. But also it comes down to the mind and knowing that these things are happening, and not being distracted by the external world, but also calling your energy back. So I've done a video about this before, immediately saying, I call all energy back to me now. Take a deep breath in and visualize sending it right down to your feet. Deep breath in, send the energy right back down to your feet. So it's basically filling your body with your own essence, with your own consciousness, so that you can control and create your reality, right? So it was like 2 days ago. So the full moon was extra. I definitely have had Palladian visitors interrupt my video. I then had a massive ship come to me when I was outside at night under the full moon sitting in the hot tub. Massive ship. I'm talking, there was 2 little wispy clouds, and I was kind of laughing and had a feeling. And so I went like this to these 2 little wispy clouds, and I turned, and I thought to myself, I don't think I said it out loud, but I was like, I wonder if they're going to move. Like, I see you. I turned and got my tea. I turned back, and it was this massive cloud, the only one in the sky, a big, huge, fluffy monster. And I was like, oh my God, I should record this, but I'm not. I'm going to have an intimate moment right now. So don't be surprised if you also start seeing that. Don't let your mind think that, oh, it could just be. No, it's damn impossible for the environment to create such a thing, like a cloud to just appear within seconds like that. So it was like this big giant cloud that then I'm watching it. It started to separate before my very eyes. I'm talking, this was all in seconds, and the whole thing was maybe 5 minutes in total. It started separate, and then the one on the left started to look like a man who was carrying this giant ball. And the one on the right looked like it was almost, it was telling me a story, okay? So as I was interpreting the story, I won't go into the whole story, but as I was, it looked like man taking the world back, really. And the ship that was there beside it, so it separated into 2. This one started to change shape, and it kind of looked like the animals and nature and everything alive. And this man, I don't know if you've seen the Australia dancing men with the hair, but it was similar to that. And then he started to look like he was dancing. And so anyways, it was like a play I was watching, and it was absolutely incredible. And I mean, all year I was doing CE5 events. If you've ever heard of Stephen Greer, we literally set our intention and raise our consciousness and go up throughout the Milky Way, head on through the Alcyone to Andromeda, our home planet, ask star beings to come down and visit us, or those that are channelers will get a message for the collective or for the group or whatever. But we were doing these intentionally, and more people are holding these circles to intentionally connect with star family and other beings that are coming down to help. So there's no fear. Anyways, so as these 2 separated, and I got more information, I got more of this story, I'm like, okay, so if I turn away right now, like, am I going to turn back and you're going to disappear? Like, it was just, wow. So I turn, I like gave it about 30 seconds. I turned back, fucking mist, fucking gone, clear sky, nothing, no clouds, nothing but the full moon and a bunch of stars. And I'm out in the desert, so the stars are really, really sparkly clear. So don't be surprised if that happens to you. Open your mind to what is to come. It's not a fearful time. It is absolutely the most monumental time ever to understand that they built this world to make us believe like we're all that exists, and then they faked the moon landing and all this shit, and the environment and climate crisis is dying, and now people are trying to, like Elon Musk, yeah, we're gonna go to Mars. What the fuck are you talking about? Okay, hold on a second. I'm gonna crack myself up because it's so funny. So number 1, turn your fucking TV off. Number 2, remember that we are just a speck of the cosmos, of this universe, of the galaxies or whatever, but yet we're all still connected. So this moment is really all that matters. And fear takes you out of that moment. And external information that can shock your system, that when you're told something, you may question or may believe it, and that can totally change your day. And then, as I mentioned before, astrologically, all the planetary alignments and the light coming in, that's like rattling our system too. And then how the earth is responding. So there's a lot going on, and how you best manage it is also getting the fuck off of social media, taking breaks from these devices, because they are absolutely affecting you that you can't even understand. I mean, it's like being on here live, the amount of people, oh, Mystique, the amount of people, stuff, it's like you're going to pick up chords. You're going to develop chords with all the people that look at your posts. Say this live right now, who's ever on, I'm getting chords connected. And luckily, they're all my beautiful people that I love. Talia! And so it's definitely understanding how to hone in your energy and know that when you're getting drained, and that there's a lot of all these other things are going on, like I just rambled about, that taking 5 minutes to meditate, get into your center, listen to some beautiful music, get the fuck back inside your body, because all these things are pulling on the outside. The cells are responding as well. But how do we own and take power back in our cells is bringing our present awareness down into the body. Like I said, taking a deep breath then and sending your consciousness down all the way to the bottom of your feet and grounding back into the planet, and doing that repeatedly throughout the day. And when you have an appropriate time to process some things that are happening, stop judging yourself. You know, it's not always your hormones. It's not just the stress that you're living. There's a world evolutionary awakening happening that is affecting you on the daily. And so if you feel like your mental health is getting a little extra, don't start saying like, I need medication and I can't handle this and blah, blah, blah. I want you to take your power back and take your moment to yourself any chance that you get. Go into the bathroom, doesn't matter. To best manage yourself is the greatest way to walk as a sovereign individual and set yourself free. And how you set yourself free is not allowing any fear to penetrate you. And if you do feel fear coming up or uncomfortable or like a trauma trigger where you are scared of something, then it's being present with yourself, putting your hand on your chest, and breathing through that to remember that there's nothing outside of you that can hurt you to that degree. Obviously, if you're in immediate danger and there's someone running around with a knife out there, or there's a lion that's going to eat you, or, a truck is coming towards your car full speed, like there's real instances when to be afraid, and your body will go into shock in those moments. But like day-to-day life, we have no reason to be living in that kind of fear. If you're struggling with financial trouble, if there's like so many things that are seriously stressing you out, then it's also imperative that you do these techniques to get back in the body and breathe, and know that as much as all these things are affecting you, you have help. You have other beings that exist, which is why this UFO, these aliens, all this stuff is going to help everyone, help the collective understand that there's more than just you. So us that have worked with angels for years, or animal guides, or our ancestors, it's like all of a sudden when you feel like you're not going to make rent, you're in a health crisis, like fucking scary, you have to have surgery, there's that kind of stuff. You sit, you breathe, you get in your center, and you ask for help, and know that it will come. So when they say it's like people turn to religion in the most dire states, they get down on their knees and pray, who the fuck are they praying to? Well, you're praying not only to, your prayer is a demand, it's a request, it's your telephone line to back home, to source, to the all that is. You're connecting with your higher self. You're relinquishing the control of the mind for that moment to step back into the energy body, which is you, back and connecting to that consciousness where all things are possible, including miracles, and that your health, no matter what you're going to go through, you will make it. Even financially, there's a solution around the corner. If you are able to sit into the center of your heart, get into the body, rest the nervous system to have a solution come down. That's how. There's always answers and help all around you. You just have to tune into it. So um, what what we're looking at moving forward, it doesn't matter. I mean, there is going to be a cyber attack that's also coming. I channeled that last June about cyber attacks, and they started their fucking practice drills. So that's also going to happen. So what that looks like is, the internet goes down. You can't get access to your money in the banks, no cell phones, like no anything. So guys, it's not about like being terrified and preppers. I mean, it's about getting in your center and be like, no matter what, I'm going to make it. I'm going to be okay, because all the other humans are on the planet. I've got the ground underneath my feet. There's trees giving me oxygen. And, it's coming back into a place of faith, really. And taking the moment of complete despair and fear and flipping it around into faith. And like I said, I know that's easier said than done, but you're not in it alone. So even if right now there was no internet, I could figure out how to find food. You'd be surprised when you're thrown into survival, like during the pandemic and all this stuff. You'd be surprised how resourceful you can be. So you forget that you're such an empowered being, that all things are possible, and you can make them all happen and take care of whatever is thrown your way. So on a global scale, this is going to continue, and there's going to be continued fear and threats and war, and we're walking towards this. And so right now I want to prepare everyone, and it's not in a fear-based way. This I would have taught, and I wish I would have known when I was a kid, and I wish that I would have shared all I knew way back when, but there was no immediate threat. Like we weren't living this. It's like the 80s and 90s, and there was nothing going on. It was happy. We were living outside. The internet just came out. Like there's no immediate threat. It's like if your doctor just told you that you're going to have a heart attack if you don't stop, if you don't change your diet. That's an immediate threat. You have to change. So if you're not pushed or forced to take accountability and responsibility for your life, for your energy, then you won't. You'll keep going about your day, and you'll stay in your comfort zone and kind of get lazy and just go watch TV and until you're fucking forced to get on your feet and do something. Like there's a cyber attack, nobody has a phone, the hospitals now have no power. What's going to happen? Like if there's not, then you'll act, then you'll get your shit together, right? So with all that everyone's been through the last few years, if that's not a shakeup enough to be like, okay, I'm not going to be a victim of what the fuck the government and the world is, what we're going to go through. I'm not going to be controlled or manipulated by this fear and feel like a helpless victim walking around on this planet, desperate to, just like in the state of desperate, like a child or like a deer in the headlights, just so helpless, because nobody is helpless. I don't care if you're in a wheelchair, you'll roll out of the wheelchair and get out if you have to, if there's a fire. Like you will do what is ever necessary. So I want to take this as like a daily practice to keep going back to the moment, call your energy back, bring your awareness to your center, and stop judging yourself so harshly. Stop allowing external factors to control you. Stop allowing people's opinions to dictate how you think of yourself. The most empowered person is basically someone that understands, and it's a lot of work and it takes a lot of practice, right? We need to practice this so we can still be affected, but it's how long we allow the response, or hours or days or weeks that we are in that place of feeling vulnerable or not good if something happens outside of us. So if someone bullies you, if someone starts an argument with you, are you going to let that stir you up for the next month? Or are you going to try to really process the feeling, process the anger, process the hurt within that hour and move forward? So that's really what it comes down to, is getting your power back in these moments. And going back to how I started this video, which is that's where you get your freedom. Your freedom comes from the power of your mind and taking responsibility for whatever it is going on in your reality without shame, without blame, and without that the critical mind blaming, yeah, like as if it's all you, because there's so many other things going on. And so basically my message today is to, no matter what is happening in the world or around you, unless you are seriously in immediate danger, take a moment, take a breath, go outside, wash your face. I'm going to do these again because they feel so damn good. Come back to your center. Put on a song, you know, smell a flower, like literally anything within your immediate environment, tune back in. So working with the five senses is the easiest way to tune back into your body. And that means looking around, start describing out loud what you see in your environment. Are you cold? Rubbing your body, getting back in your body, feeling touch, smells. What are you smelling? Taste, have a drink, do something. So it's getting back into the body in any of these moments of emotional escalation when you're affected by the energies. And like I said, because of what's going on astrologically, if you're being asked to, you're feeling, like old memories come up, okay? Someone that had passed or something you had gone through is coming up. Don't beat yourself up because it's coming up. It's coming up for a reason. And it's asking you to tune in. If you're at work all day or doing stuff, then it's like, okay, I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to set a time, 8 o'clock, before I go to bed, whatever, half an hour, to tune back into that emotion, to release it, because it's coming up for a damn reason, rather than saying, why can't I just let that go? Like, is this ever going to end? What's wrong with me? Or it's just, you know what I mean? It's like we can be our worst enemies. And there's so many other things that you are experiencing that you don't know why. And because of that, it's really hard. So knowing that we're all connected is kind of the first start. It is kind of the first place to start. And knowing that, it's not just you. And there's nothing wrong with you. And the energies are wild. The government, the earth, other people that you know, other people on social media that are connected with you. You're feeling and experiencing so much all the time that it just comes back to this moment of self-love that, okay, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm experiencing. It's too much right now. I got to get back to my center. You can do things like can clear your energy. Like there's so many little tools, that can be helpful. And since we're energy beings, frequency, like sound, music, is the quickest, easiest way, really. And there's a couple people on right now. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to message. Like I'm talking alien UFO stuff, what's to come. And if anyone wants to share too, like if anyone has had any recent sightings, recent experiences. I know last night in dream time, there was a lot. I was definitely on a ship last night. I was at a board table. There was a meeting happening and it was intense. Okay. So I was meeting with the Galactic Council. There's a lot being worked, and I'm getting chills. There's a lot being worked out. They're plotting a lot right now to come in and interrupt the plan of this kind of like UFO invasion and fear tactic, because technically this was always part of it. I feel like it was supposed to happen last year or even 2021. And so it's been prolonged. And let's say we have a lot of help that want to intercept. So, just like the fear that, with Russia and the war there, and that like what countries have atomic bombs that could blow up the whole world, and that people are afraid that, we don't want, that World War III, but in fact, we're already in World War III. It's a war on consciousness. And knowing that there's been so many helpers, UFOs, extraterrestrials, that have stopped those, they have taken out those bombs. They have, whatever, so that they can't be They can't explode. There's so many other beings and things assisting and supporting humanity that there is nothing to be afraid of, and that the best thing that you can do, I just keep wanting to go back to this, the most simple thing is go your breath. Your breath. You have control over your breath. Your breath is yours. How deep are you breathing? Are you breathing shallow? Is your body not getting enough oxygen? So consciously take a deep belly breath, fill up your belly, fill up your chest, hold it, and then exhale. You have control over that. You know that, right? Your power is in that moment in your breath. When you feel helpless, powerless, like I said, financial issues, you've got relationship issues, what do you have control over? Simple. Go back to your breath and start there. What else? Your mind. So when I go into repetitive cycling thoughts, activated in trauma, my witness will step in and be like, wow, Emily, you're really going through it. Let's get a handle on this. This is an old pain wound coming up. How can we soothe and calm this to stop this cycle and end it here? Coming back to my breath. So we have to, when people say about, when people say that there is, that they don't know how to kind of accept what's going on in the world, they're really angry at what's coming out, like with the children. I don't know whoever saw the Grammys, pretty disgusting, pretty demonic and satanic. It's like, it's pretty unfathomable what's coming out, but it's been there all along. It's been there all along. So when we get really angry and when we get really upset, yeah, feel that, but don't stay there. Why? Because then they're winning. That's the point. You're in heavy anger or grief, like fighting certain things, then they're winning. They have control over you. And when I say they, I mean the external world that's working to manipulate and trap your mind into the matrix. And so yeah, feel it, process it, but then taking your mind and power back. Because nothing can touch you when you have control over your mind, and nothing can rattle you when you own your energy. And this is where each person stepping into responsibility for themselves, how they manage each day, taking out the inner critic and understanding the external reality sometimes can be there's things that are going to test us. There's people that are going to test us. There's injustice all over the world on the regular. I could cry all day, every day if I want to. I can do and feel a lot, but I have to make a choice. And I have to make a choice so that my life is not owned by somebody else or something else, because it's my life. And so if each person starts to believe that it's your life, whether you feel like a slave to your job or not, you can choose how much energy you give to that job, how much you care, how much you allow your coworkers to affect you. You still have power in whatever environment you're in. And start to make a plan to change your reality, basically. If you're extremely unhappy in where you are, if you're extremely challenged in a relationship, if you want, like right now, I'm filming in my van. I was getting quite frustrated. I went to 4 different places. I was interrupted, or the lighting wasn't good. It was really windy. It was loud. I couldn't find a spot. So I had to sit down for a moment, take a breath, and not give up on finding a solution. And that's how, if you maintain the framework of being solution focused, and I don't mean forcing things. Sometimes that is for a reason. So I can try so many routes, but if this feels like it's something is right, like I need to record a video or I need to talk to that person and I can't get a hold of them, I'll still look for other avenues to make that happen because I trust my intuition in that. And so I'll do it no matter what. Okay. But then there's forcing where you're doing it out of an incessant need you need to fill or something like that. Right. So there's a difference. And again, when your energy is grounded, when you're in the body, you know the difference. You know the difference of why you're trying to force that thing. And then you'll step back and put your hands up and surrender it. Or you'll say, nope, this is right. There's got to be a solution. Let's figure this out. Like if you're an IT guy and you're getting constant calls every day, like my program's glitching or this is happening, he has to continue to go step by step through problem solving procedures until an answer is found, because there's always an answer, right? There's always an answer. And the answer starts with your breath. That's about it. So I could go ranting on forever. I hope that something I said was beneficial for you guys. I do feel like the rest of the week is going to be pretty, I don't want to say rocky, but I want to say like the energy is continuing to kind of be like this, like it's reverberating quite quickly with like bursts of things. So it feels like a little bit unstable this week. So be prepared for that. Again, no, it's not you. Be in the flow, be in the body, and be present is how you can ride the waves of whatever, whatever's brewing, whatever storm is brewing in the ocean, no matter what kind of size wave. Be in the flow and allow whatever is to be. And it's like when people fall, I'll just end with this because I think it's pretty funny. So when people are drunk and they totally wipe out, they don't get as hurt at all as people who are sober. Because people who are drunk are just kind of loose. They completely are relaxed and surrender. They kind of just like fall limp. And so there's not like a resistance and a really hard impact. When you're awake and alert and you're running, and you try to stop yourself and catch yourself, you'll crash hard and break a lot of bones, right? So sometimes allowing and being in the flow is the best thing to actually, and out of that resistance is the best way to continue to go on no matter the waters, because all we can control is what we can control. And I can't control what the government's going to tell you, right? You can't control if your neighbor's like screaming at their dog right now. Sure, you can yell back, but we can't control other people, right? So what can you control? And just do that and know that that's more than enough. And I think that's all. And if anyone else, I'm going to head out. If anyone wants to share, feel free to send a message, and look forward to more sightings. It's always fun to look at clouds anyways. Like as kids, did you ever lay there and look up and watch the clouds and say like, that looks like a buffalo, or that looks like a candy cane, right? It's actually really fun and be in our creative imagination and watch the clouds, look at the stars, and just know that you're not alone. So rather than being afraid of such UFO and other sightings and all this other stuff, feel like, wow, I'm not alone. Why not flip it? Why not flip it, right? Anyways, okay, much love, guys. Take care.